have done my hair a little bit better.
Beautiful. Wonderful. So let's kick off. So welcome everyone. We've got a cozy group this week, or this month, sorry, I should say, depending on how we go, and whether others are joining still. And this is the last one of our initial series of 3 of Healers Connect that we'd initially sketched out. So it's been a really wonderful experience to have this initial series and to feel our kind of community coming together around this. So we're just planning out at the moment what we do next going forward, including maybe some more sort of discussion oriented sessions where we can get to know each other a little bit more and cover some more peripheral topics around our work as in our practices, as well as just the core healing work. So lots of juicy, interesting stuff to come, I think. And today we're going to get to our long-awaited, beautiful support protocol that we've been gearing up for, I think, for the first, certainly, couple of sessions, and that the IEHA leadership team has put together over the previous few months, initially as a result of COVID coming out. So we were really putting a lot of work into a crisis response and how to support practitioners and the community with crisis times. And then, as the first wave started winding down, we'll see what happens with this second wave, but to broaden it into a more general crisis response support tool, and possibly, still for use, obviously, as COVID goes, takes its course. So Irina is going to be sharing a little bit more on the ins and the outs of the support protocol. I'm going to hand over to you in a second, Irina, but I'm going to share our support protocol first so we can all take a look at this. That has also been beautifully laid out graphically by Irina as well. So hopefully you can all see that well there, and I'll hand over to you then, Irina, to take us through the ins and the outs of each step of the protocol and through the chakras as well. Thanks, lovely.
So you said it all. So it's really is an opening for discussion. But before that, I've just come back from a beautiful walk with one of my very close connections, and we had this episode with the seal energy coming into the picture, the seals. So she wanted to show them to me as a surprise, and when we came to the place, they were nowhere to be seen, and she goes, oh well, maybe on the way back we'll see them. And then we started to kind of walk away from that, and then this was this voice, like the choir of the voice is just like a ooh, 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 like that. And so we turned around, and all 5 seals were sitting on the steps and just doing this. It was just unbelievable. So we quickly read on the spirit animal of the seal, and it's all about inner voice and speaking from our hearts, just opening up that space. And I felt it was really relevant. So it definitely felt like a great support for me personally. And I would like to bring that energy into our session today when we speak about the support. So the abbreviation, first of all, the protocols, the need for the protocol or something like that, it wasn't specifically protocol, came with Jenny when she was taking over the leadership role of the president. It was her first sort of thing. She says, we need the protocol. It's the guidance came through so strongly to make sure that our healers, our members are looking after themselves and they're feeling supported while they support others in such times. So we've come up with the 2 of them. They kind of were born at the same time, right? So the first one is support, that's the crisis one, and the second one is connect, that's for everyday time, for every day afterwards.
Thank you.
So we've kind of have this, and that's how it was born. So we've together as a team, we co-created the kind of main category of it, and then Martine took it away and came up with a few more focus areas. And then when I was playing around with the with that, so we've aligned it with chakras as well, and they're not in your usual way of the chakras. That's how they we kind of received it. So just kind of the subject, what's behind it. So we felt when we debriefed after our first two Healers Connect sessions, we feel strongly that the safety one was covered in first event of the series of this Healers Connect series, when Maxine presented her safety PowerPoint, and then focusing and kind of listening to our intuition through the body, me and Maxine being the client for the demo. We will not go into the next one until the following sessions, but we just wanted to kind of tune in and see how it all sits with you, whether it's still valid. So about June, as Elle was saying, in June, kind of, or did we kind of, are we wasting our resources? Well, it needs to be of a universal protocol. So we hope, our hope for today's in like an overall kind of thing, and from the feeling point of view, are we connecting with the protocol? Is there something else? Is it a different form that needs to be born? So it can become a resource for our members going forward. So in a membership portal. So how shall we do it? Shall we go through each of them, or maybe Elle, if you can fit the whole thing in one screen, so maybe zoom it zoom it out a bit more.
Yeah,
So it's sort of, can you? Mm-hmm. Not yet.
Is that, how does that look?
Yeah,
Is that
that's,
the whole thing?
yeah, it's now
Is it
looks
readable still?
complete. Yeah. Oh, no, too much. Yeah, like that.
I'm on a laptop, so I hope it's big enough.
How is it for everyone? Has everyone can see it?
Great.
So remember, this one is a discussion session. So unmute yourselves, please. And we are really just wanting a discussion. We want to try a different format for this session, a focused discussion. So the focus would be this creation of ours, and the discussion would be about your feeling of support and what does it mean to you, to each of you. A couple of questions that we can ask ourselves. Maybe we all tune in together with the first questions. And that's a simple question of feeling. How does it feel to you right now? Like maybe one word, so if you can tune in, close your eyes, connect with the rhythm of your own breath and see what way you're guided in your response. Observing your breath, does it go all the way? So we are feeling into the energetic response. Gently come back to the circle discussion. If anyone is brave enough to start sharing, how does that whole concept feel to you right now?
I love it. Like I came in late, so I sort of missed all the introduction of what was going on. But just reading it, I think it's brilliant because it puts the onus on the person receiving the healing. You know, it's they're in conjunction with you rather than just going to be healed.
But this is support for the practitioner, right?
So that's the guideline for practitioners to follow, for them to be safe, and also not to take too much of the client's stuff on ourselves. So we still, as Kaz was saying, outsource responsibility back to where it belongs.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's brilliant.
To the one who is undergoing healing. So which one resonates with you, like something that stands out for you, Kaz?
So I love that on the safety, the base, the educate about prana and energy, then the can participate in own healing. So I'm only just sort of getting down to the throat at the moment, but I actually love all of it. It's so well thought out and precise, exactly what I've felt myself. So yeah.
Martine, thank you.
What came up for me, like it's really soothing and really feels complete. But I thought maybe we can incorporate a link or two for each level. So when the practitioner is a bit off or is really needing some support, they can read through it, but then also they can click on a link that either bring them to a meditation or an exercise or a talk that connects with the topic.
So it does become a resource page, right? So
because it's for the practitioner, so it's a resource. So connect them to a group or something, like some kind of support that they can just tap into instantly. So that's what came up.
Yeah, noted.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Martine. Yeah.
Who's next?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hi, Luca.
Hi.
Luca.
What was coming up for me, looking at that and tuning into the energy of it, is grounding. I don't know if it's a lack of or a need for, or I don't know, that word keep coming up, grounding. Because I think that now more than ever, as a practitioner, I want to be as grounded as possible. And going through the checklist in a way, maybe yes, as Martine was saying, some link with exercise or a talk or an article, but also a practice. How do I ground taking responsibility in my everyday life? How do I ground connecting with my own body in the everyday life? Do you know what I mean?
So are you saying, Luca, your sense is that these are beautiful high-level reminders, prompts, and as well as that you would really resonate with another prompt or something, a way to ground that into, okay, what does that mean in the here and now, right now?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I feel it stays on the auric or etheric level of
As a
us
concept. Yeah.
and doesn't really, we need to embody all that we do in order for the energy to land. Otherwise we're still going to be on the outer level. That's my feeling into it.
And it's true, isn't it?
You go. Elle?
I was just going to reflect. It's true that all of these, each of these sections, each of these steps could be a whole, you know, a whole training session. Like there's a whole, each of these is quite big in itself.
Rephrase, it will become a training session. I think
it will. I love that.
To all of us.
or a diploma,
Well, so we've decided that we only, from the association, we will develop bridging courses, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's the content.
There you
So
go.
we won't compete with any of our providers, but we will complement.
You have a rainbow bridge.
Ethical way.
Bridge.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's for
But
practice.
also with the grounding. With the grounding, I loved how you said it. So in the beginning and the end, and it's almost like this, you know, like that gesture. So you have the head above for the grounding and the head below. So we are content with the practice as a practitioner and held with the two sets of hand as the client at the same.
Yes. That was my view, my thought, my feeling.
And I think there's something interesting looking in each of the steps is that I guess my head's also in where our Healers Connect sessions are going. And one of the things that I've been thinking about is all of the different modalities that we each operate with. So, you know, Jenny took us through a focusing session last month, and they're looking at each of these steps from a high level perspective, how a lot of these can be fulfilled in different ways by a lot of different modalities. You know, so the solar plexus, lead by example, connecting with your own body, release fear from the diaphragm, utilizing mirroring. So they're instructive, but there's also, depending on which specific modalities each of us works with, there's a lot of different ways of fulfilling a lot of these. So that whole training program that can go under each of these steps, you know, there's a lot of different ways of taking that as well, which is really cool. Like we can draw on the wisdom and the experience that we're all holding together as a collective to fulfill each of these.
Yeah. That can be part of, you know, the links that we send them to, like little mini exercise from different modalities. And that's part of the grounding as well, because once they do something, it grounds them. It brings it very practical. So the grounding is like the practice right through them.
Because, you know, I feel that in healing, when we bring it back to the experience, then, you know, that's where the real shift and the real empowerment lies for someone. Because we are, as a soul, we are here to experience life. So even in the healing, we need to experience healing in a way.
Ebba and Nina, who would like to go first? Nina.
These are new earphones, so hopefully you can hear me. Okay, good.
Just very
faint.
Soft. Yeah.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
fine. Yeah.
My first sense was that it's very clear. I like the clarity and the ease with the colours and the way it's been laid out. But as I listen to each person reflect on their thoughts, I have more things to share now. I feel like it's very masculine and linear in the way that it's formatted. And I know formatting is maybe not important. However, I felt like I need to share that I think it should be on a landscape and in a circular rather than so linear. I don't know why. I think I really like Martine's suggestion of having a link to something, and I think that fits in really nice with what you said, Luca, about embodying it. We need something that we can do physically with our body to ground into that particular area or aspect that we're working on for the support. I wondered too if there's an image, like a simple icon that has a prompt. So at first glance, you can see a simple icon that might be, you know, an action that the person can do straight away before they click through to the link. I'm not sure exactly how that will present, but yeah, for some reason I feel like they need to be in a circle and less linear. So having the colors to group together and the flower images as well, keeping that all together, but yeah, I don't know, more feminine, I think, in that support energy. I think that's all for now. But yeah, something like an icon where you can just at first glance see a relationship between the words that are there and then an image to prompt you to do that practice. And then if you need more, you can click through to the link and then spend, you know, maybe you only have 30 seconds or a minute. But if you have more time, then you can click through to the link and then spend more time really embodying that particular area.
So that's kind of like tapping into that that visual, pictorial half of the brain, that rather than, you know, if we're in a more energetic sort of spatial state of mind, that we register pictures a bit quicker than sometimes decoding words, I think is what you're getting at, Nina. If I'm
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's instantly like, oh, breathe, oh, you know, access my sound or access my resonance or whatever it might be. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's helpful too, because not everyone's, especially if you're in a crisis place, taking in words can be overwhelming too.
That's true.
So, and I'm feeling a lot just by looking at it, you know, from the colors and the gentleness as well. But yeah, like a little icon or something. Yeah, like you say. And two, also, I think, you know, if you can tap into that creative side of the brain, that can help with, you know, creative problem solving and, yeah, helping you work through what you need that support with, shifting the perception, perhaps.
Because, yeah, if I can add something, you know, I feel everybody has a way to connect with reality. Some people do visually, some people do through the sound, some people do through action. So, yeah, I agree with the circle. I like the idea of having the circle, just more organic in a way. And it doesn't, you know, that one comes after the other. It depends where you are. You can reach out to the ray that you need. But also, yeah, having the visual or the sound part to it, so that when I'm in crisis, I go back to what's familiar for me. You know, I might relate to colors, so I go to visualization, that kind of exercise. I relate to body and movement, I go to a yoga pose. I relate to a sound, I go to a particular musical note. Having that 300, I know it's a big project just by talking about it. But I feel that's a way of reaching every possible aspect of someone that might need a bit of help and support.
That's a great idea. As you're talking, Luca, I'm seeing this circle with all this section that we have here, and then people click on one aspect of whatever they need, and then another circle come up, and then different options of that.
Yes.
The link. Yeah.
I know.
That'd be really nice.
Beautiful.
I like the just a note on the color coding as well, and the beautiful flower images or the nature images there. I think, like you were saying, Nina, when you're in that crisis space, or whoever was saying, it's hard to register your words sometimes. So seeing the images and seeing the colors can help to attune us to, like, which chakra needs most support right now. Is it my base? Is it my throat? Is it my solar plexus, or whatever it is? And just being guided by the intuitive sense of the color and the image, rather than scanning down, okay, which step do I need most right now? So continuing with that imagery is really beautiful. I've just had Erina drop off for some reason. She'll connect back in again.
She ran away.
What's that?
She ran away. Oh my
She
God.
ran away.
That's a big project. See ya. Bye.
Too much creativity. Too many amazing thoughts coming my way. No, I'm sure she'll jump back on again. Let me just have a look at, we had a couple of questions that she wanted to focus on. So this general sense of, first impressions of it. She was curious to get people's sense of what does it remind you of? Is there any kind of association that comes to mind?
In what sense?
Well, she's jumped back on again. We've got you back again, Erina. I was just had checked in with that. You know, you'd set out a couple of feedback questions that you were keen to explore together.
Did I miss Deb's reflection?
Yeah. So the first one that you'd kind of gone into already was generally, what does the protocol feel like to you, like thoughts? And I just prompted that reflection question. What does it remind you of? Does it connect you to anything else? Was there anything in particular that you were aiming at with that question, or just a general sort of connotation?
That's something else. Maybe we already tapped into the resourcefulness of that, so it becomes the index for something bigger. I think we've already kind of processed that, but maybe someone else wants to bring the other energy into it to enrich it.
The only observation is that I guess there's a couple of different purposes when we're looking at it. So, and I heard on courses and format and look, and I agree with everything that's being said. I think that makes a lot of sense. Is that if as a practitioner, there's a couple of things. So one would assume and hope that we're self-aware and that we're looking at different elements within that we would want to work on. So, the other thing is, could it or should it even be even more simple, so that, because if I'm overwhelmed and I'm feeling in, I'm thinking, okay, safety, my base, what is the one thing that is that's really going to help me right in this moment? And I think Lucas said that could be grounding. So, it's like, what would be the one most thing? Because if I've felt anything about what's really happening with COVID, it's really, how do we simplify it and get it really, really back to the most simplest way of helping someone? What does that look like? So I wouldn't change anything that's there. It's almost like, what is a single message of it that would be really, really useful to someone in a crisis moment? So if they've got nothing else, because when you're in that space and you're overwhelmed and you're processing, you don't think, and because a lot of what you're trying to do is move your vibration up a little bit, so you can work on some tools. I don't know that, because I love everything that's there. It's just so, is there another, is there something else that you could draw from it and energetically? So, what would be the one thing in each of it, and in throat, it might be something simple as singing. Like, what do you use? What is the one thing in each of them that you could use? In a heart, it could be a figure 8 breath. I don't know. But what is the one thing that you can do to kind of lift your vibration up a little bit if you're in crisis? Because everything in there, it's really lovely. And some of it's there. I was just looking at it thinking, I wonder how still have it there, but even simplifying it again.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. That when they look at this circle thing, they can click on the priority thing, like the first emergency thing.
Yeah.
they do the rest. I think that's a very good point.
Exactly, because there's some great things in there, and then when you're looking at it logically, but you know yourself, if you feel really unsafe, we all know that the best thing that's going to help you is probably. So if you're looking at your sacral chakra, you know, that if that's belonging or if that's charisma, it's like, okay, so what is because there will be one element within each of that that's going to be really, really, that'll stand out for it. That'll be just the time honored thing that, you know, that everyone goes, yeah, this is what you should do. This is going to be the most useful. Yep.
Yeah. I
love it. I think it looks great. I think it looks great.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you.
There was our third reflection question, wasn't it? What is the one aspect? What is the most essential aspect? Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can. Can I?
The third reflection question for today was, what is the most essential aspect of crisis support for you personally? We wanted to know more about you, each of you. So we take grounding is the essential, so it's like the breath, yeah?
Yeah.
And then beyond the grounding, what would be one thing that would be essential for you?
I think connect with someone, another human. Just thinking about me personally, and looking at this as well, like there's a lot of things you can do on your own, but sometimes I think the power of just being in the same space as another human. And I know it's COVID, right? So that brings its own challenges, but I think that feeling of isolation or aloneness really brings, for me, that just makes the whole safety issue really full on. So for me, the grounding, and sorry, I just got this image of that being essential. The base being the central on like the map, and the other ones all extend out from the base. So the grounding, really important, but also sometimes I find that really hard to do on my own. If I'm really up in my anxiety or my crisis space, I find it really hard to ground myself. And this might be when those links are helping too, but I think connecting with another human would be my number one next place to go. Even if that's on Zoom, you know, it can help.
As I was driving back, it was very strong need to create a group to support this series, these events. As all of us who take part in it, we've started with the energetic mentoring before, but we kind of didn't continue, didn't take off. But maybe we are ready for that, and that's where the resources could be, or we could find some other platform where we can have that personal reaching out and see who there is. We also have Energetic Healing Association also has another group which Martine, Jenny and me have created a while ago, probably 3 years or if not longer. So it's called Energetic Lifeline, and it was to support, to reach out and to put your, like if you know there's if you're assisting someone who is a crisis, it's like a concept of reinsurance in the banking, in the insurance industry. So you have your insurer, but if they have a huge load of cases in the same region or with the same linked with the same catastrophe or natural disaster, so they will have their insurer to support them, and that process is called reinsurance. You know, like you support me and I support you. So that was the purpose of that Energetic Lifeline group. So we could resurrect it and be a bit more active. So like if you have something to offer, so you'll get notifications. So if you're up with the good level of energy and you feel like you can serve, you can sit with the person, or you can prompt the conversation. But otherwise, everyone will just know to send the blessing, at least, to the situation or the personal crisis. Yeah.
That's beautiful, because that connection is, it's really another aspect of our grounding, really, isn't it? It's like, yes, it's one-on-one, so it's technically it's through the sacral chakra, it's a relationship, but it also connects really strongly with our grounding into our sense of tribe. Like, I'm not in it alone. Okay, how am I supported here? How are we going to figure this out together? And that's such a powerful aspect of any kind of crisis experience. Like, I know for me that's a huge one. It's that sense of like, all right, who's got my back here? Who can I bounce this with? Who's going to support me in this? That's really good.
Yeah, that's one aspect of the safety thing.
Mm.
So we must have the support first. Okay.
But also, I feel is the aspect of co-creation, because what I notice sometimes when we rely on someone to support, that support person becomes almost a crutch that you always lean towards when you're in crisis. But if we work together with the energy of co-creation, so we set up an energetic environment that will allow growth, that's where things start to really shift, the empowerment. So it's really, wherever you're going to focus your energy, that's where the energy is going to go. If we focus on fear, on what's happening, the disaster, the tragedy, the drama, well, that's all we're going to see. But if we focus on the opportunities that are hidden underneath, then maybe is where we find our own power to step out of the crisis and thrive out of it, I guess.
Yeah. Both are important, like that support's important, and the gentle prompts to take your own action. Like, I'm here for you, and how are we going to support you to get out of this dynamic?
Yes.
Yeah, having both, not it's all okay because we're together and the drama's fine, nor is it like, you created that, you manifested your own reality, go sort your own stuff out. Just having a bit of both is beautiful. Good discussion. Really good points here, I think. Really good reflections and good, I think this is one of the good aspects of having that masculine structure, is it takes us deeper. Like, we can see the structure and then take the organic flow and bounce it a bit deeper and explore what else is there.
Also reminding, like in crisis, to be reminded that it is an opportunity for change. So like, just reminding the person that everything is an opportunity. So what is the opportunity call in that crisis? So that's another aspect of, shifting the perception.
Any other reflections on what's most important for you in a crisis? Like, if we put ourselves in the center, in the hot seat here of the thought experiment, I guess.
I mean, it's trust as well.
Yeah, it's almost like that concept of trust coming from above. It's thy will and not my will. So you go through that throat and go down into the solar plexus more than the other way around.
I think the other thing, I've got my camera off, sorry, I'm just picking up my daughter, multi-skilling. I think the other thing is there's no question we're in such uncertain times. And so I wonder, and I think that I also think, or feel rather, that what we do is going to morph and change. I've got no doubt about that at all. And so, you know, if the other thing that I think, and if I feel into the energy, I mean, you've just got to feel into the energy of Melbourne, right? And, you know, all you feel is just this anxiousness and fear. So if anxiousness and fear is what's coming up, so then what would be a tool? Because for me, it's like, well, how can you help people manage something that's really foreign at the moment? And, you know, I was listening to someone on Lifeline who was talking about the fact that, you know, we're telling people to stay at home, and, you know, and those that are lonely, we're telling them to stay home and even be more lonely. So connection, I agree, but it's then, okay, so what else actually comes up for people? And I think for a lot of them is just, we could say it's fear, but it's anxiousness. So therefore what could be grounding, but I'm just sort of trying to sort of think to myself what would come up, and therefore what could we have or use that would be really very useful. And that was something that came up that I thought of.
Love that.
And you know, that could be, you know, well, how do you get some mindfulness? So is it like a 1 minute mindfulness and something that is really simple, you know, and that might be something as just simple as looking out and looking at a plant. So, you know, how do you bring people back to some kind of center or the present moment, or what does that look like?
Yeah. I know for me, that's always a huge part of my needs whenever there's anything, you know, that looks like a crisis coming in, is that mindful moment, is kind of having a time out and just saying, okay, everything stop for a second. Let me just have a breath, reconnect with myself, reconnect with my physicality ground, of course, and almost like take charge of my own timing again. Take charge of my own world, or at least my sense of my own world. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, agree 100%. And I think it's because I've been reflecting on that a little bit, and I've been thinking, you know, how do you get people to do mindfulness when they've never done it before? Right. So saying to someone that's never done it, particularly when they're anxious, I'll go and sit and do for 5 minutes. That's actually really tricky. And so I've started paring it back even more, or making it more simple, going, you know what, if you could start and do a minute, I reckon a minute would be really good. And then you build, you know, it's in how you can build habits that will hopefully assist. But yeah, so how do you I'm a big fan of, at the moment, keeping it really simple so that people can grab hold of something and then take some action.
Yeah.
Also, like when they really feel anxious, if they can just hold it for 90 seconds or something like that and just breathe into that anxiety, it will start subsiding. And then they can just tune in and, you know, really, how to say, access like what is really creating that anxiety. What specifically am I anxious about? And then it's like an introspection. So it's an opportunity to look deeper in it. And a lot of people are taking that time to pause and just reassess their whole life and see, like, you know, how do I really want to live? What is this crisis about for me, and how can I use it to maximize, you know, my life right now? So it's a very good time to pause and introspect. And, you know, the world can be quite crazy, but we need to stabilize our internal. So this is when energetic healing is so powerful to, you know, help them really order their energy so they are more stable inside and they can take whatever the world is going through. So it's for me, it's an opportunity, and a lot of people are doing this right now.
Yeah, that's the power of fear coming up, right? Anxiety coming up, which is a flavor of fear, is if we've got the perspective and the awareness to do something with it. Look at, okay, so for me, on the other side of fear is freedom.
Yeah. So if
I can lean into this fear, Yeah.
So it's being with it, not resisting what is, and just teaching people to just be with what is, and then go through it, which is energy work.
Yeah, I love it. It's almost like, what's the opposite of this fear? Like, what's the opposite of being terrified of losing my job, right? It's like the opposite is the complete liberation of trust and financial freedom or financial trust or whatever it might be. And to live without that is a really beautiful, like to live without that fear is a really powerful incentive, like a powerful carrot.
Yeah. I think it's very important for people to start, you know, how to say, disidentify with what comes up and just observe it and decode the message and start moving into action instead of, you know, staying in the fear or just moving away, distract themselves. It's just like go straight into it and then take some action.
I think we're afraid of the fear. I know that sounds a bit silly, but I think we're afraid of it. We're afraid of the fear. We're afraid of the anxiety. And what you're saying, Martine, I think, you know, like, welcome it in. Like, who are you? Why are you here? What is your message? What, you know, let's sit down and have a cup of tea and tell me what's going on.
That's it.
But instead, we're like so afraid of the fear that we just want to hide it in the corner in the closet and close the door. And the problem with that is it's still there. So yeah, I think you're right.
It's just a complete different way of perceiving what's going on. It's just like not taking it and identify, but just like, okay, pausing, like taking that time to pause, breathe with it, and just be with it. And then it will shift. You cannot stay in anxiety if you do that. Very powerful.
For me, once upon a time, I've created this secret list for myself, you know, when I'm busy and I wanted to be or to do something totally different, I start to kind of feel agitated and stuff. So it was then that I've decided I'll have a special place where I would write all my wish list for what I would like to do if I had time, if I had the resources. So during the lockdown, I went back to the list and I ticked off quite a few items from there. So, okay, so now you have no escape, no excuse. So you've got the time, you have to be at home. So this is what you'll do. So we've started our yoga routine, regular yoga routine together with my husband. So it was on my list, and a few books I wanted to read were also ticked off, and like little things, you know, like, but I remember how noisy they were in my head, like kind of in a busy mode. So there's also this nagging, oh, you know, if only I had time, if only I had a space to fit all that in. So that list ended up to be a really, really good tool for me, the wish list of if I had time list.
Did you manifest a global pandemic, Irina, so that you could get all this stuff?
I wouldn't blame it on me in the recorded mode, especially.
That's some powerful manifesting. I feel like we're getting some really powerful reflections and like brainstorming really for where we can take this protocol out of this session. Where we go to from here and how to ground it. I love that there's this grounding theme that's really coming out of it, which is fantastic. I think we've got time for maybe one more little reflection question before we start thinking about winding up for today. I would love to know, you know, grounded into the protocol, but then more broadly as well, like how can the IEHA support all of its practitioners in these crisis times? Like, what would be amazing to experience from the IEHA, or to how to feel that support? Does that make sense? I hope that resonates. What are people's thoughts? Or maybe it's perfect as is. Maybe there's nothing else.
If I can, I was tuning in what was coming, and community education. That what was coming up, and not so much the community of healers, but more people that might be curious about healing in a holistic way. And the association supporting in creating those talks or discovery day or that people can access. And then, you know, having different practitioners there talking about, you know, their modality of what healing is, or how, you know, can, you know, as a healer, how do we empower people in their own healing? Does that make sense?
That's a great idea. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And I know that, you know, it's a bit restrictive now with organizing events, but
it's totally not. Do you know about Airbnb online events?
no.
So the platform is there. They just released it 2 months ago. So I'm one of the hosts, so I got all the updates from them. So I was the host for one of the first events in Sydney, in person. But now there's a beautiful community too of the hosts that support each other, and they come to all the events as for the starters, you know, like when you start to create, when you're just creating one. Why don't we go that, explore that avenue and create online Airbnb experience related to the energy education?
I don't quite have my head around the Airbnb connection, but
it's called Airbnb Experiences.
Yeah.
It's a different section of the tour accommodation. So these are the local experiences that you offer. But during the COVID, they've created a new section. It's called online events, online experiences. So we could utilize the platform and offer our own experiences through that.
That's what we're doing with this meeting. This Zoom meeting, we call all the members to join and explore and discuss.
But we're talking about the community. We're talking about outer-facing offerings now to the community.
Right,
Luca?
That's what was coming through. And I was listening to what you were saying with the online. And I don't know, as much as I love the Zoom and the online meetings, I also feel now there is that association that is the only possibility that there is. So we are in lockdown if we are doing a Zoom thing, while people are more probably eager to get out there and physically be in a place with other people. And I know that is not probably feasible right now. But maybe, you know, in creating that project for a 12 months period. I don't know. It's just that I feel a lot of people are a bit zoomed out. Literally.
It would be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good food for thought. It's a different experience, definitely. So when physical gatherings are possible again. Yeah.
I would love for the association to be present when everything will resume as, you know, normal, you know, at the Body Mind Spirit Festival, at those places where people go and see a presence. I think. I don't know.
Yeah. It's great. It's great. Bringing something else into awareness. It's hard for me. I'm in Queensland, so I'm like, I'm going to miss the party down in Sydney.
But you
Maybe
will
I'm
have probably events in Queensland that, you know,
you
might be attending.
I have thought about that before, Luca. I've got a girlfriend who runs events. Like I think Irene, you know someone too, don't you? She runs big events, and I had thought about before COVID, because there's plenty of events like you're saying with Mind, Body, Spirit, but they're all about psychics and, you know, and selling product, really, crystals and stuff. But to actually have an event that was based around energy work and how it's beneficial to everybody, and how, and educating on what it is and how it works, and how people can use it, and actually, you know, speaking face to face, not having to go online and look up courses or look up, you know, and not really getting information, emailing, getting a bit of paper back. And it's not the same as actually being able to stand there in the presence of someone who does this work and explain it to them. I love that idea, because I had actually thought about speaking to my girlfriend about it last year, and I only saw her on Friday. So when it's all back together, I think that's a really great idea to, you know, to put together, because there's nothing really like that. There's plenty of ones like Mind, Body, Spirit, but you know,
Irina, long time ago, we were talking about doing a conference, energetic conference, right? Gathering like that, like many years ago. We were thinking of, bringing key people together and open to the public and open to anyone and
Well,
discuss.
it's like, Charlie Goldsmith, the healer. He's sort of bringing it more. I send a lot of my clients to his page just because he explains it so well and people are listening to him, I think people are becoming more and more aware of it, but still I don't think there's enough avenues for people to have that face-to-face sort of understanding of what we do.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe doing online, what will be nice, I think, what people will connect with will be the stories. So the journey into, an holistic approach to healing that someone had, how that has changed his life. And putting those little videos up on Facebook or in whichever channel we're going to use, so that people can connect with what healing is. Because I'm assuming, people, he's an energetic healer, you go there and do a magic on you. So, well, not really. You know what I mean? It's my journey into healing for me has been this and this, and it's like almost your personal story into healing, and how human that can be without having superpowers or
that's right,
particular presence in the room.
That
could be something.
I like it.
Yeah, same. I think that's a great idea, because a lot of the time, like, the barrier to getting involved can be quite significant. Like, the idea of, what is this stuff and what does it involve, and to actually just see that people are living, breathing, normal humans and very warm and friendly.
Yes,
can be really
be
worth a lot.
And it can be quite simple, and anyone can do it. So it's like they have to realize they do the energetic healing themselves, which is helping. It's very empowering to be able to wake up to their capacity.
Definitely.
That'd be a great thing.
Can I share a thought on that suggestion?
Please.
Originally, I think your question was about for the energetic healing members. So this could work for both the members or for potential clients or potential people being interested in energetic healing. But I run a Mother's Circle, Women's Circle. And I just think, how beautiful would it be to have an energetic healing circle? So either for energetic healing members, at this point in time, maybe it's an online thing, but in the future it's a live thing, and smaller groups maybe can have that sort of circle experience of connecting and sharing and, bringing questions or doing an activity pertinent to the time or what's happening. But then for maybe people who are interested in energetic healing and haven't tried it before, it can be like a healing circle experience. So they're not alone. It's not like booking a one-on-one appointment that costs, $100 plus. They can come to a circle and pay, I don't know, anything from, $10 to $30, depending on how long and what's being offered. But then they can come and sit in circle with other people who are interested. It's a community thing, so you're getting that connection, and also the power of energetic healing when you've got a group of people together is just amplified. And maybe you are offering them a guided meditation or a visualization. Maybe you're doing some kind of breathing exercise with them, as opportunity to do a partner thing with meridians, or there's just endless possibilities, right? But right at the moment with my work, I'm feeling like circles are really powerful experience, and you can bring whatever modalities into that how you like. But it's more feasible, and then people are getting that healing on lots of levels because they're getting a community connection, as well as whatever that individual healing experience is at the time, and that opportunity to feel seen and heard, deeper conversations, belonging. So, and I have experienced this online, and it is still powerful. But in person experience is much more.
Different experience, yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful, Nina. I love it. Thank you.
Also, if I can, just one last thing, open to be each other network, as in what I've noticed, and she's online. I can see her. My lovely friend Caroline down there, she invited me into the clinic that she works from, and to do Aura-Soma consultation. And I, accept the challenge, and I went there, and she opened up a whole new network of people for me. And I think that if we can tap in each other network and support each other in that way as well, would be very, very powerful. So I might invite, Martine and my clinic for the talk on, Chinese medicine and her book, the Hacking the Wellbeing. That I think is a good support that association can provide us probably. Because I found that, I'm now professionally practicing since 3.5 years. And yes, I build my own network, but it takes a lot of time. And it's, it's a slow process, beautiful, slow process, but it takes a lot of time. By tapping in other practitioner networks, it's a sharing of the knowledge, it's a sharing of opportunities, a sharing of, and offering our clients probably a wide menu of choices.
Yeah, definitely. Because, as you know, Reiki is my life. That's what I do. That's what I teach. It's my focus. But, sometimes people need other things, not just your modality to, to completely heal. And so, I'm so grateful you're there, Luca, because now I can put them on to the incredible healing of the Aura-Soma, which I've used for years, which I love. We've got a kinesiologist there, and she does past lives, and we kind of just send each other to each other. And I have other people that I network with as well. So, you need sometimes other things to help. So
absolutely, yeah. That's beautiful. I love the thoughts, because they're some of the things that we're really wanting to bring in and tap into more in our Healers Connect, just in our space here. And then also there's a lot that we can do outside of it as well going forward. So juicy, good stuff. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. So I would invite everyone to keep percolating on that. And if there's other ideas or thoughts that come up after this, which has turned out to be, like, in part a beautiful brainstorm session, as well as reflecting on our support protocol. Any other thoughts that keep coming up, to reach out and share them, either on the Facebook page or by email to the IEHA, or wherever feels appropriate, or word of mouth. Pick up the phone, old school. Or next month, as we go forward with these groups as well. So thank you, everyone. It's been fantastic. Any other last thoughts before we wind up for today?
Luca, I think you've given me the answer to the question for the book title, final book title. So we're still kind of not sure. So it's something you said. So how does Unfolding Journeys 1000 Quest for 1001 Ways to Connect with Reality sound? That's what you said. way to connect with reality.
It sounds long.
It's in parts. The main title is Unfolding Journeys.
Good.
And then there is a little bit of the subtitle. We'll work on it. I'll put it in the picture. But it resonated so strongly, so I wanted to acknowledge that.
Thank you, everyone.
Before we go, is there anything you want us to work on for the next meeting, so we have a concrete thing to bring to the next meeting?
I think you're bringing something already, Martin, next meeting, from my memory.
Oh, yeah, is that the next meeting? Okay.
Well, to be honest, let's sort of talk about it. But one of the potentials for the next meeting is to do some networking, is to basically tap into our community, similar to what we were just talking about there.
Yeah, I think that's
tap into our community and do a check-in and say, okay, who's here? Yeah. How does everyone work? What's their training? What's their interests? Who do they tend to work with? And how can we maybe cross-refer, or how can we learn from each other?
Yeah.
to strengthen that sense of community a little bit stronger. So that's one of the potentials,
Yeah.
you know, amongst a million others. So, yeah. So concrete thing that you can bring is yourself, right?
So maybe the IHA can do a list, or so the networking can be easy.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Great thoughts.
Mm.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So when is the next meeting?
Again. So start of first Tuesday of next month.
First
We're gonna
Tuesday.
on the
First
first Tuesday
Tuesday.
of each
Okay,
month. Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Pete.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you and bye.
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 Aha, there we go. Us. But that was cozier this week or this month.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
some people who registered didn't come
Right.
through.
Yeah.
I don't know. So.
And we had a couple of our leadership team not able to come anymore, and Jenny was sick today. So yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm still surprised not many members actually join the meeting.
Mm.
I mean, we have, how many members do we have? Right? It's quite interesting. I don't know if they see the value. I don't think they're aware of the values they can get from.
So maybe we should need, maybe that's what we'll do the next one as well. We'll kind of get the testimonials like in writing and put it in, or maybe we do it for the newsletter, for the invitation to the next one.
Newsletter or something. Something, I don't know. How do they understand that this is for them and this is for the benefits, and then they need to be there?
So is no one that was here today not a member? Nobody was a member here?
So Nina is not a member yet, but she's considering. She was how do I say it? Part of the leadership team with the one before me, with Catherine.
Yep.
So they all got a bit, yeah, there was a bit of a energy. So it took her a long time to reconnect, to feel into it.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah. So
Is Luca a member?
Luca is a member. Yes.
Yeah. And Deb?
Deb is a member, very active member. Kaz is not a member.
Kaz is not a member, yep.
No.
But I mean, how many members do we have?
So we have 75 individuals, and 26 course providers.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like quite interesting.
Interesting. That is interesting, isn't it? I wonder whether it's a time thing, so I would have thought a lunchtime call would actually be easier to.
And now, you know, they can't go to many places, and you know, they can organize their practice around the meeting. I mean, they have a month to think about it. I mean, there's no excuse if they want to join. It's possible.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, like, how can we get them to understand the value of joining? And you know, because we're doing this for the members, like we're trying to help the members. So, but we need to know what the needs.
Yeah.
And what's the best way to help them? But if they're not there, they don't care. What do we do? We just go for the community then. We just try to educate the community.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like we need to start focusing.
I was originally seeing this as one of the benefits that you get with membership.
Yeah.
One of the incentives to join the association.
Exactly why it became payable. That's why I can justify that. I see it as a core offering to the membership.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Irina. Thank you. That was. I had a really warm glow when you shared that. I was like, that's great. Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be interesting too. It probably will gather momentum as we go along, and as we try a few different sort of topics out, different things, and find out what people are interested in. Yeah, it is interesting though, isn't it?
Maybe, I don't know.
Don't show up, or only a few.
Maybe do we need to send an email to ask them, like, what will be your interest? Like, we're doing this for you. Like, if you know, would you turn up if we talk about this? Or, you know, what is it? Is this your priority? Like, how can we help you most? And then see the response. And if they really don't respond, then we can just, you know, focus on educating the community. which will benefit the practitioner in you know, in the long run, but also giving more.
Oh, hang on. Let me, oh, whoops. Let me just stop our recording. I might need to trim that, hey? Let me
Trim
just
that.
hit
Oh,
stop.
it's not easy.